Hello everybody, and welcome back to Instant Release, and I'm talking to you from, well, my terrace. Well, it's raining, because I thought I would catch some fresh air at this point. So, today we're talking about travel cameras and macro four thirds cameras. If I move the table a little bit, forgive me. I wanted to talk about, what has been my travel camera setup for the past few months. Almost a year. Yeah, a year would be about correct. So I started with the XT2 actually. The XT2 and a couple of small lenses to go with it. So I had, about a year ago, I had the 23 f2, which now I'm using the 25 1.8 from Seven Artisans. And I also have the 35 f2 WR now. I'm moving the moving the table quite a bit. I'm just gonna stop doing that. And I also thought that carrying the 18 to 135 wouldn't be that bad of an idea. So that's also on my camera setup for travel. But the problem that I have with that whole setup is the XT2 size. You see, when you're traveling, when you're going for a crop sensor camera because you want to decrease your kit size, you start, generally you see a lot of videos online about Fujifilm cameras, like people switching from Sony, Canon, Nikon to Fujifilm to have a smaller camera setup, smaller lenses, yada yada yada, these kind of things. And the thing that has been bugging me a little bit is the fact that on Nikon right now we have pretty small lenses, like this 40 f2 for example, which is about the same size and weight as my 35 f2 here for Fuji. And with those kind of lenses, and the Z6 being about the same size and weight as the XT2, we are looking at a size difference that is not that big, and we are leaving a lot of things on the table by going with a crop sensor camera. I'm talking about IBIS. The XT2 that doesn't have IBIS, the Z6 does. The viewfinder experience is better on the Z6, the autofocus is much better on the Z6, the low light and high ISO noise performance is much better on the Z6, has more dynamic range as well. And there's lots of performance relative things that are a lot better on full frame than they are on Fujifilm cameras like these. And you are not really gaining much by going with that camera when it comes to kit size. That's really the main problem that I have right now, and that's really something that I wanted to improve upon with my next, travel camera setups. So, a few months ago, I picked up two cameras, about a 2 month between these two, but the first one was the Fuji X100S. I always wanted to have an X100 back, ever since I sold my original X100 in early 2023, something like that. So I was very lucky to have the deal that I got on that one, because X100 cameras are overpriced to oblivion pretty much nowadays, so it's really not something that I would recommend anyone getting at the price that you find them. But I was like, I got that one for $300 I think, which was like a super good deal in my opinion. And if that was able if that was giving me the X100 experience, which I was like looking for, that was nice as well. But this has been a pretty nice travel camera, and it's smaller than the XT2 with a comparable lens. It's smaller and lighter than the XT2 even with a lens on it. So there's that, and it's a nice camera overall. However, having that fixed focal length, I know there is conversion lenses, but they are expensive and they add to the bulk quite a bit, so I'm not really a fan of them. And when it comes to the camera itself, it's still lacking some things that the XT2 has, like a great OLED viewfinder, double card slot, weather sealing, those kind of things. So there's a couple of things that I think would be better with another camera, but to compensate for the lack of wide angle, of super wide angle, and the lack of telephoto lenses, I bought also a little Lumix LX5 for about $100 on MPB, which was a great deal. as well, and this has like a 24 to 90mm equivalent, but it has a super small sensor as well. It's stabilized, which the X100S isn't, but it allows you to get, to complete the thing. So if you have these two cameras, it's kind of okay. Otherwise, you might as well take the X-T2, So this is where the Macro Four Thirds camera comes in. Because the cameras themselves are not especially larger, like they are not especially bigger than the X100, but they are not really smaller than the X-T2. They are kind of in between. If you're looking at the Olympus EM10, EM5 series, they are about the same size as the X-T2, slightly smaller, slightly lighter as well, but they are not really in a whole different size category or anything like that. So this is where the main advantage of the Macro Four Thirds system comes in, and that's the lenses. So recently, with the intent of making this my main travel setup, I would say, I picked up, also because I was curious about those cameras, which I've never tried, I picked up this, which is an Olympus EM5 Mark II, if the camera can focus on this. Alright, a bit of thunder in the background. So this is a camera that I picked up for about $500 with those two lenses, which are the Lumix 25 f1.7 and the 14 f2.5. The 25 f1.7, I wasn't really super interested about that lens because it's a 50mm equivalent. It has about the same equivalent aperture as my 35 f2 on Fuji, and they are both about the same size. So that's not really something that I was looking forward to. And it was coming with the camera, and it was really great price, so I really didn't have anything to complain about too much. But that 14mm is really something great. The camera can focus on it. If I hide behind it, maybe it will. No, it won't. Okay, have some B-roll instead. But yeah, this 14mm is super small, really great lens, and the camera itself is small, and it has features that the X-T2 doesn't, and things that I've been missing even on the Z6 for some of them. So the first thing that we need to put aside, like the differences with my previous travel setup, which is the X100 and the LX5. Those two cameras have fixed lenses. The M5 does not. These two cameras are not weather sealed. The M5 is. And when it comes to the other things that are making the EM5 pretty cool, it's stabilized, which is pretty nice. It has the ability to have like some other features that will compensate for the comparatively lower resolution that the camera has compared to my Z6 and my X-T2, like the super resolution mode. If you have a tripod with you, that spits out as 40 megabits of raw image, which is pretty cool. There's also the live composite mode, the lifetime mode, those kind of computational features which really helps narrowing the gap between the Z6 and the X-T2 when it comes to that camera. And one other thing, on top of everything that I've said so far, is this. The fact that it has a flip-out screen, which none of my other cameras did. The only camera that I had which had a flip-out screen was the Canon M50, which I really didn't like. But this is another kind of camera to me. It's much better built, much like more enthusiast focus camera compared to the M50, which was really like a beginner focus camera. And I find that the EM5 to be much more enjoyable to use as well. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's my foot in the door of the Macro Four Thirds system, and I see. I have been playing with it for the last couple of days. I have set up the camera the way I want to. Not the easiest thing to do, believe it or not. The Fujifilm system and the Nikon system are much more understandable by someone that just doesn't know the system. And they work kind of the same way. You find the same kind of thing in the same places. This menu system is a little bit weird. I'm not gonna go too far on it because I'm not planning on getting much more into the menus anymore since I've pretty much set up the camera the way I want to. But yeah, I have a mosquito all biting me. All right, could you get off, please? Fucking hell. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna have to make reviews of all the cameras I talked about so far. There was cameras that I've had for a few months. like the X100S, like the LX5, which I still haven't reviewed on this channel, and they really do deserve one. And of course, I'm going to make a review of this win. Why did I get an accent all of a sudden? Of this one, alright? I'm going to get a review of the M5 Mark II setup, and yeah, that's going to be the plan for the next few months or something like that. So, yeah, I think that now, if there is still something missing in my camera lineup or anything like that, I'm a fool or an idiot or something like that, or I'm just someone that is highly delusional about my capabilities as a photographer or something. But yeah, I have the room to do like some nice comparisons now. You know, I have a full-frame camera, APS-C cameras, micro four thirds, and even smaller than micro four thirds. So that's going to be pretty cool when it comes to actual, you know, photography comparisons, like dynamic range, noise performance tests and stuff like that, which is really what I like to do. So that's about it. That's all I wanted to say. That's kind of an update of what I've been using for travel and to move around. I'm not always using my Z6. And yeah, that's about all I wanted to say. See you in the next one, which will probably be a review of some sort of one of the cameras on this table here. Probably. So, well, see you in the next one, and take care.